So this is way more civilized. It is still like 6:45 in the morning, but like the sun is out. It's nice. We're very close to summer solstice, and so I mean the sun's been up since 5. Everyone's here. Okay, I see like half a dozen runners on this block that are going to run the Queens 10K, which is lovely.
Digital passengers, please be advised that both sides of this platform, this train, both sides of this train will open a vessel as port, both sides of this train will open a vessel as port.
I'm going to tell my kids this is the Coney Island boardwalk and save us a trip. If you've ever done a New York Times crossword, that is the Arthur Ashe Tennis Center. That's the Ashe. This is not its greatest angle. Yeah, this is the home of the US Open, among other things, and the 1964 World's Fair, and a bunch of other things. And sometimes I run here. The 4 out of 6 program that New York Roadrunners runs is a sub-program to the New York City Marathon, which is its own thing. There are 6 kind of middle distance-y races. The goal is to get local qualifiers in for the NYC half marathon. There's a half marathon or something close to it for every borough. Staten Island has a half, Brooklyn has a half, there's the Manhattan half, the New York City half. I think the Fred Lebow half counts as a half marathon, even though it's just 2 laps around Central Park in the middle of winter. So that's a 6. And then the other 2 are the Bronx 10 mile. It's a really great course. It's just not 13 point whatever. It's 10 miles, which is fine. It's a gorgeous race. That's the funnest of the entire series for sure. And then there's this one, the Queens 10K, which is the youngest of them all, and it's 10K. A half marathon is 21K, but they treat it as if it's a half marathon for the purposes of this qualifying series. The reason there's so many people here, well, there's 2 reasons. 1, New York is a big running town and everybody here likes to run. And 2, it is a qualifying race for all kinds of places, not just the 4 out of 6, but also the New York City Marathon itself. So everybody and their horse is running this race. It's a narrow course, and there's a lot of up and backs and a lot of hard turns. So it's hard to do spectacularly well unless your elbows are a little sharp and you get a little bit lucky. But it is largely flat. The only hills, such as they are bridges. So it's not too bad. And it's a gorgeous park. It's a nice, big, gorgeous park. You're running on the grounds of the World's Fair. I mean, it's really pretty. This is the first main square. This is where all the running teams are gathering. There's a lot of different running clubs. And it's kind of exciting.
We have 8 stations on the course. We have our marshals on the course. So athletes, please monitor the support that's out there on the right. On your mark!
Gorgeous day. It was a tad hot, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, there's no such thing as an ideal time or place or weather to run in. It's rare that you get a perfect situation. This wasn't bad. The thing about the big ticket New York Roadrunners races is that they are at least generally pretty well organized. And this was their first one back in Queens in a few years. I remember running the Queens 10Ks before. The course is a little different this time. It's not as, they used to go around the outside of the reservoir, but it is like running in a frying pan, and there's no trees out that way. There's so many well-covered, well-canopied parts of this park, and they made a point of going through as many of those as they could while still having a little bit of variance. It's not like there's no hills, but the hills really are just the bridges. The bridges are the hills. Everything, aside from that, this is really flat. If you can negotiate hairpin turns every once in a while, and occasionally some narrow sections where there's a lot of, let's call it foot traffic, you can run a really good time here. One other thing that New York Road Runners does that doesn't do very often is 10K runs. They don't have a whole lot of 10Ks. There's 2 or 3 a year. They like the shorter runs and they like the longer runs. They've got a lot of odd lengths, 6K, 8K, things that are not traditionally run lengths. So it's really nice to kind of have a straight 10K and be like, all right, this is a 10K. I checked, I realized I beat according to New York Road Runners, I beat my personal best by like 3 minutes, but that's also because I haven't run a 10K with New York Road Runners in years, and I've been training, so that's really helpful. Finish lines here are nice and kind of noisy, like you're like entering a party. It's really great. I'm trying to drink as much of this in as I can because it's really nice. There's a lot of people from a lot of different places, and it's really exciting. It's not just the blasting house music and the 2 hyped up MCs, cheering everybody on, and all the running clubs, that are cheering on their own, and also they're cheering on everybody else. It's not like there's heavy competition between running clubs. New York really does love its running, and days like this are kind of why. There's old people and young people, there's tech bros, and there's also, there's like grandmothers, abuelas and abuelitas with their infant kids, and everybody's having a grand old time. These races really do feel like they are like, this is what New York is supposed to look like. This is when you think of New York City, or when I think of New York City, this is New York City in full. I really appreciate being able to be a part of it. Even as somebody that's not much of a joiner, I've never joined a club. I like to run by myself. It's a solitary thing for me, and I enjoy the solitude. But to be able to come out to something like this and every once in a while be part of something bigger, it really gives me a place in the world. It lets me know that yes, I belong. This is my species. This is my tribe. On days like today where it works, it really, really works.